Welcome back, everyone. This is MandoAllDay, back to another video. And in this video, I'll be doing an overview of Batwing. This is from the Batman Inc. storyline. I'll be talking about the figure itself in terms of the articulation, sculpture, and paint, and if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not only support the channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look at the box. The front of the box looks like this side, the back, the other side, top, and a bottom. There you go. Alright, now let's take a look at the figure outside the box. As always, you do come with a card. This is the front of the card looks like. The back of the card. It does come with accessories. You got here little flames on there you can put underneath Batwing, but it's a cool thing, and again, you can make it seem like he's actually flying. There's two of them. But the problem is, it comes with a regular puck stand, and so why not include the flying stand? I mean, not nitpicking or anything, I'm just kind of like wondering, wait a minute, if you have the firing, or the fire put underneath the figure, why not include a flying stand? But it's all good nonetheless. Here we have the blue flame you can put in the back, which I'll show you in a bit. And again, comes with a regular puck stand. So let's take a look at this figure. We'll start off with the articulation. Left and right, good. Up, down, good. Shoulder articulation, it's good. Bicep, oh, it's a little stiff right now. Let me see this hand, or this arm. I know the articulate, it just took it earlier, but wow, these are very, very stiff. Come on. So it does articulate, it's just a little stiff right now. But there you go. There's something. Elbows, good. Wrist, good. Torso, really, really, really good. Really good torso articulation. And of course, swivel as well too. So overall, the upper body articulation, really, really good. Leg articulation, good. Knees, oh, it's a little stiff. Good. Wow, it's very stiff. Ankles, good. And then toes, good. So overall, the articulation and entire figure itself is really, really, really good. Now let's talk about the figure and sculpture design and the paint, which I want to talk about the paint. And right away, this head sculpture, it is fantastic. Where do we start? One, you get the painted lips. The eyes has white eyes. You know me, I'm a sucker for white eyes. You got the hair. The hair is fine, but just look at all of that sculpture design on the mask itself. You got the pointy ears, and just look at all that sculpture design. And I like the whole texture and sculpture, but unfortunately the paint on this figure is going to be an issue, which I'll talk about in a bit. But look at the head sculpture, looks really good, but the paint, that's the problem with this figure, is the paint. But regardless of that though, again, I'll talk about that in a bit in terms of the paint. The head sculpture looks really, really, really good. Then you got the big shoulder piece on here. All the sculpture design there. Then you got the bicep inside here. Then you got the tricep on there as well too. And you can actually move the wings a little bit, which is pretty cool. But here you got the tricep on there. You got sculpture design there. Then you have here like the gauntlet per se. All that sculpture design. Then you got that fist on there. Again, very, very sculpture design figure. Look at all that. That looks really, really, really good. Then you got here the other side. Same thing, same design, just, again, very defined, very sculpted design figure. And it looks really, really good. But the paint job is going to be the problem. And it's not a bad thing, it's just, okay, I'll talk about it now. The paint job is really good. I like it. But unfortunately for this figure, similar to this one, is that the paint job overshadows everything else because there's so much texture going on, and with this paint, it overshadows the sculpture design, if it makes any sense. Because from a distance, it looks cool, but you can't really see the texture. But when you look up close, you appreciate the figure more. You can see more of the sculpture design. Look at this right here. Look at all of that sculpture design. Look at the abdomen right here. So much sculpture design. Here you got, looks like it's going to be some wires. Some armor pieces right there. You got the Batman logo. It's bright silver. But unfortunately, it blends in with the other, like, light bluish, metallic bluish. So it doesn't really shine or pop, and that's the problem with the paint job. It's good quality and looks good, but it overshadows everything else. Even the back as well too. Just look at all the sculpture design. Look at all this. This looks fantastic, right? But again, it's going to be that paint that just overshadows it. It's not a bad thing or anything. Just look at the sculpture design there, but it just overshadows it. Similar to that one, which I'll show you in a bit. But nonetheless, so this figure itself, the sculpture design, it is top notch. If what you're paying for $20, this is just amazing. This is fantastic. Then you got the wings on there. Like I said, you can actually articulate it as well. And you can put this thing right here, just like so. Put it in there, and that's it. But man, look at all this. Just look at that sculpture design right there too. Look at all that detail. It looks really, really cool. And again, you can actually articulate the wings as well too. Have them down or have them up. And then you also got more sculpture design here on the wings as well too. Looks really, really good. And there's the back side of it. It looks really, really good, man. I really like this figure. When I first heard about this figure coming out, I was skeptical. But the more I see it now, I'm so glad McFarlane made it, because look at this. Tell me that don't look badass. Just so much sculpture design, and I like the paint job. But again, that paint job overshadows the sculpture, because from a distance, you can't really see it, the sculpture, or appreciate it. When you look up close and personal, you can really just see all of that detail and sculpture. And just look at that. Look at all that sculpture design. Look at that. That looks really, really, really good. But again, that paint job, though, that's going to be the problem for me. So, apart from that, though, the upper body, fantastic. I fucking love this figure. Let's look at the belt, which is a weird-looking, odd-looking belt slash underwear, but the sculpture design there, right? You got whatever this is in the back here, and also on the side, and of course the front. Then you got that leg sculpture design. Again, more sculpture design there, as well as the thigh, more of the side. Just look at all this. So much sculpture design on this figure. Just look at all of that detail. Again, for $20, so much going on. But again, the paint job overshadows it. It's not bad paint. I want to clarify that. It's not bad. It's just, it overshadows it to where you can't really see it from a distance. But when you look up close, fantastic. And you got more sculpture design there. You got that paint on here. Kind of looks kind of messy on here, but it looks cool. Gives it extra style look to it. Then you got the joints on here. What I like about this figure, though, one thing that I noticed is that the joints kind of blends in with everything else. I noticed with some McFarlane figures, the joints, you can really tell they're joints. This one, it kind of works. It looks like it's like a robotic joint, if that makes any sense. So I actually like that. Very subtle sculpture design on the joint. Then you got the feet on there. And then you got here the shin guards. Just so much sculpture design on this figure. And again, for $20, this looks amazing, man. Fantastic looking figure. You got the wings. The paint job looks good. Sculpture design is fantastic. I fucking love this figure. And so, with that said, I love this figure. It looks really, really good. McFarlane did a really good job with this figure. So, kudos to you, McFarlane. Fantastic job with this figure. So, of course, the main question is this worth it? Should you go out and get this figure? For the price that you're paying for of $20, fuck yeah. This is a good looking figure. Like I said, good sculpture design. Texture's very good. Articulation is good. You get some accessories to make it look flying. It does not come with a flying stand, which is fine. But everything else looks fantastic. And again, for $20, you're getting a good sculpture design figure with a good paint job. Yes, there's a bit of a negative to it, which is, again, like I said, the paint job overshadows everything else in terms of the sculpture design. But that's just a nitpick for me. Everything else looks fantastic. So yes, this easily gets a thumbs up for me. The figure looks fucking sweet. And of course, the pricing of it for $20, hells yeah. For $20, you're getting a good looking figure. And it, to me, is a fantastic deal. So once again, Batwing from the Batman Inc. storyline. Get the thumbs up for me. Fantastic figure. McFarlane, you nailed Batwing. Looks fucking sweet. And again, definitely get these before they're gone. Here we have the Signal or Duke Thomas. And of course, Batwing. Both good, clean looking figures. I like this one a lot because the colors blend in very well. And like I said, this one in terms of the paint job, or the paint choice, I should say, really good. It stands out, but it overshadows everything else. This one, you get that bright yellow, but yet in some parts it's black, so it blends in while you can really see more of that texture. See what I mean? Like for here, look at all of that. You can see the sculpture, but you really have to focus in. This one, you don't really have to focus in too much on the paint, on the actual figure itself, to appreciate the sculpture design. So hopefully that makes any sense to anyone out there, but something that I noticed. But regardless, though, here we have Batwing next to the Signal. Here we have Batwing next to Lex Luthor with the Superman armor. Now, before we start talking about this figure, yes, I did custom paint this, as you can see on here, and it was me and my nephew. So before all of you start bashing on the paint being over painted or overlapping, you want to call it, it's me and my nephew painted this. But regardless, though, as I'm mentioning with this figure, the sculpture design, there's so much sculpture, but the paint overshadows it. Exact same thing with this figure, is that this figure is sculpted very, 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 very well. The problem with this figure is going to be the paint, similar to this, and that the paint usually is all just blue, so it overshadows it. You can't really appreciate the texture. But when you paint like this right here, I painted just the silver parts on there, on this figure, so it makes the figure pop more. You can see that. You see more of that texture and sculpture design on the figure. And all I really did is just painted some parts silver, and it pops and makes the figure pop. Hopefully that makes any sense to all of you. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't like it. I like this figure. This is a really good looking figure. But just, I wish there was more to it. I'm sure maybe someone could customize, maybe paint this like a dark gray or something, just to kind of blend in and make the figure pop. But nonetheless, so here we have Batwing next to Lex Luthor. Here we have Batwing next to Two-Face as Batman. I did a figure yesterday, an overview of it. Make sure you check that out. We're looking Batman paint job. The sculpture, it's a very clean, basic Batman sculpture design, but the paint job is really, really weird, but it looks fucking sweet nonetheless. And just wanted to show you two different Bat family figures. We have Two-Face as Batman next to, of course, Batwing. Here we have Batwing next to the OG Batman from the Rebirth era. Good, simple design Batman figure, but it looks fucking sweet, and it looks really, really, really good. And of course, Batwing itself. Come on, I have to bring Batman on here. If you're talking about Batwing, you have to talk about Batman himself. But here we have two comic book figures. We have Batman from the Rebirth era, and of course, Batwing from Batman Inc. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with me on this figure? Do you plan to purchase this figure? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not only support the channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. Then includes an overview of Batwing from the Batman Inc. storyline, and on to the next one.